Hey, welcome. Enjoying your blended family. All the B-fams out there. How are you today? We're excited to be
Very
here.
well, I thank you.
And the teacher's mind just spins.
Now sit down. Now sit down.
She'll keep going all day. She will. She's got it. She's got it, and she's very good at it. But that kind of flows into what we're talking about today. We are talking about school. We're talking about our kids. So it is back to school for most of us. Maybe you've already been in school. Your kids are back in school or they're getting ready to start school. But this always becomes the busiest time of the year, especially when your kids are involved in stuff.
Yes, we actually always found that the fall was our busiest time. I was talking with a friend at church this morning, though, and she used the old saying that we would use every single season. She's like, man, I was just waiting for school to start back because then everything would settle down and we wouldn't be so busy. And I said, you know, that's actually where all of this enjoying your everything that we talk about was birthed from, because every season, Randall and I said that exact same thing. And every season there was a different kind of busy. And so that's what we're going to tackle today. We're going to tackle, I didn't even mean to do that. But
look at you liking football already.
I know. Hey,
there's a story with that. We'll tell you.
I think we need to do a whole episode on that because
that could be fun.
I am the commish of a fantasy football league now,
She
guys.
is.
And so I'm going to love football this year. It's the year of me. Y'all have heard us complain about this, and I'm
all girls,
making a
no
change.
guys allowed.
With that and with those mindsets of these extracurricular activities, they're not always school related necessarily. It might be city leagues or just things that your kids are involved in outside of school, but a lot of them are connected with school. And it's that time of year that we get excited about everything. I mean, we just love watching our kids run around on a field, doing something that they love, or sometimes just because it's the community that we get to be a part of when we sign our kids up for these things. I even saw someone this week. They're like, we got our kids signed up for dance. What else is out there for a 3-year-old?
But it comes to a lot of problems can come with that.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk all about that here in just a minute. Hey, welcome to Enjoying Your Blended Family. I'm Randall.
And I'm Scarlett.
This podcast is all about strengthening your blended family relationships,
And having more fun.
giving you hope and encouragement so everyone is enjoying the journey together. New episodes come out every Monday and Friday. Mondays, we talk on a hot topic that are in blended families.
And Fun Fridays are all about ideas you can use to create more fun memories together in your family.
We truly believe the more fun you have together, the less problems you'll see.
So let's have some fun and enjoy this episode. All right, so you ready for this? I was ready to keep on going. I was going to pause. I was. That was my last
20 minutes in.
That was my last thing that I was going to say, but
Well, we're just so excited, so we're just going to roll it. Like, roll the tape.
roll that
3,
beautiful
2,
bean footage.
1.
Okay. All right, so we're going to get started talking about problems that happen in your family when it comes to extracurricular activities.
But there's no problems when there's extracurricular activities, really.
I know, it is beautiful.
It is a beautiful thing. But it's one of those that we want our kids involved. You do. I mean, most of us do. I know for me, a lot of my fondest memories came from doing stuff, being in sports. Looking back now with our kids being older and young adults, that was some good past times, was watching them play sports, dance, just, being involved in all that.
Well, and I think in the early years, you and I were very big on this as well. We wanted to help them find what they were good at, those gifts and talents. And we signed them up for everything, like we were talking about in the intro, because you don't know what you're good at and what you're not good at unless you try it out. And so that can be a thing that a lot of us fall into. It's out of that pure heart, pure, motivation of being a great parent and letting your kids, especially if you didn't get to experience any of those things, or maybe you did, like you were saying, and so you want to pass that on to your children. And so that is a very good thing, but just like anything, just like chocolate is really good, but if you have too much of it, it can make you sick, give you some cavities.
Well, I don't know. I mean, chocolate is just good.
Well,
but it will make you sick.
And with our kids, especially in a blended family, you have multiple children, and you a lot of times are living on a half schedule. You're living, sometimes people even, 20/80 or 30/40, whatever it is, your time is shorter than what is in a nuclear family. And then you usually have more children and more adults that are involved in this whole thing. So we really need to go into it with that mindset and really be diligent as we are planning this next season. You might have already signed up for everything, but either way, today I think we're going to give you some really good, helpful tips and advice to help you navigate that in your step family.
Yeah, because it is one of those that it is a good thing. It is something, we believe in these type of activities, sports, things of that just really bring your kid, get them involved into a social scene for one, because a lot of our kids now are struggling in social scenes and social environments. Mm-hmm. And then it teaches them so many things. It teaches them just how to play together and how to do something together as a team. It teaches them teamwork, so there are all these good things that come from it. But I know for us, and we hear it so often in parents all the time, I know fall was one of the busiest seasons for us. I mean, our heads were spinning, and some of our hardest moments as a step family came from the fall season. Yeah. I know you and me, our marriage would struggle towards the end of it, and it's almost like spring was the time we had to come back together and try to figure out all the stuff, because we were just about pulling hair out by the end of the fall season.
Well, it would be the holidays, which are my favoriteest time of the year. And that's usually when it was coming crashing down. And it would really put a damper on the holidays.
And then it depends on how many kids you have, right? If you have one child, then this may not be as big of an issue. And if you have multiple kids, like, we had 3 when we were raising our family, and it was a challenge. I can only imagine if you had more than that. Mm-hmm. But you see parents running here, there, everywhere, trying to drop their kids off to sports. And I mean, we've even heard it to where the parents are saying they're passing each other because, one's parent's having to run over here to drop the child off, and the other parent has to run over here to drop the child off. And so no one's coming together, and it can really put some strains on you. But we've learned a lot. And so we're going to share a lot of helpful tips, like you were saying, to kind of help you navigate through that, especially in a blended family, because blended family, we have our own unique challenges in this. And so really tip number 1 that we have is show up. Show up.
Yes, and we've already pointed out a couple of those benefits of your kids being extracurricular. So again, just hear us on that. Like, it is a good thing for them to go try things, be involved in things, especially for your kids and your blended family, for them to have like some sort of other family unit. When I interviewed Holly from Well Blended Life, and she talked about in her Parenting After Dark, she had this little segment at the end of our episode where she talked about the importance of, even for your kids, for them to, their mental, like, what's the word that I'm looking for? Just for their like social skills and their friendships, for it not to play a part in their anxiety and depression, for them to have multiple different groups that they are a part of. And so when they have these extracurriculars and they have a set of friends that's maybe part of their baseball team, and this might be their dance group, or this might be the ones that they, have music with, whatever those extracurriculars, it gives them another set of security, is the way she explained it. So if one set of friends gets upset with them, then they have this other area that they can turn to, and that is huge for kids. And so we want them to have these senses of belonging, because in a blended family, they do feel like they're torn and tugged in all of these different ways. But when they do get involved in something, and you let them sign up, they're hopefully they're excited about it, and now you get that schedule. Showing up for each of the kids and letting them know what you're doing right here is important. It's important enough for me to put a pause on whatever it is that I have in my schedule to come and support you in this. And I know for me, as a child of divorce, not having my family show up in that way impacted me. To see everybody else have their parents there and to not have one. But I had my grandmother that would show up at the choir concerts, or I was a cheerleader when I was in dance, and she would show up and support me in that way. And I always said, when I would look out in the crowd and I'd see her, like, one day when I have kids, I will be there for them on their big days.
Yeah, I just watched Jack Ryan, the final season of Jack Ryan, and there was a point in it to where one of the guys, he was like the second in the CIA, but this was right before he became the second. He was in the car. He drove up to his son's football game, and I showed the football field and his son sitting there on the sideline and just kind of looking out. And then all of a sudden he looks back and sees his dad pull up, and his whole demeanor changed. Like, it was just like this joy, and he had like this smirk on his face. Then his dad got out and stood out there and kind of looked at his son, and they kind of had that connection. Then the son, of course, turned and looked back at the game, and you could just see it in his eyes, just like, my dad's here. Then all of a sudden the dad gets a phone call, and he jumps back in the car and takes off, and the son looks back and sees his dad going off, and then all of a sudden he just went back to this, like, you just tell it just ate at him, like, wow. I was so excited that my dad's here. Now he just bailed on me again. Now, granted, the guy got a phone call from the president of the United States, and there was an emergency. But, sometimes you just got to tell the president, hold up.
Hey.
This may be a crisis here, but, I got to at least stay to finish watching my son's football game.
Yeah, and that's a show, but we hear this all the time. Like, so that isn't, maybe not be to that magnitude, but it may be your boss calling and you have to step out or go. And there are cases where there are certain situations that you can't avoid. But the reality of what Randall just said is so true. And like, being someone who is an educator, even when we were in youth ministry, the showing up for the kids that weren't even ours, it meant the world to them.
Yeah.
It really does, to have someone there that supports them. And I've seen it on both ends for children that aren't even ours, and they're just looking out, wishing that somebody was there for them. And so this is something that I see in like step parenting forums all over the place on like what is etiquette for showing up when it comes to your kids' extracurricular activities. And I don't know that our opinion may be, loved by everybody, but we believe that you put the kid first regardless if it's your weekend or it's not your weekend. Like, you don't stop being a parent just because your kids are at the other house. So if your co-parent has the kids that week, go support your kid anyways. It is a big stadium or a big field or whatever the case might be. You can find a spot to go sit there and let them know, like, hey, I'm here, I'm watching you. Now,
that sounds, I'm watching you.
I'm here for you. But even if
I'm watching you, kid.
Even if you're not the co-parents that are sharing matching jerseys and sitting there cheering together, which would be great if you can do that and y'all can sit together and your kids can see y'all.
You bring your ex, you show up, hey, I brought you a shirt.
I made you a shirt.
I made you a shirt is matching.
It has our last name on the back, but you can wear it.
But it's always siding on love, and we go back to what Jesus teaches, and everything was lead with love. And that's what you want to do. Even if it's your step kid, your bonus kid, support them. Sometimes, for us to be able to break down these step family divisional walls, it takes us, the leaders, the adults. We got to lead it. We got to lead that charge saying, you know what? I don't care if you're my stepson, my stepdaughter. I'm going to be there for you. I'm showing up, and how big that is. And they may not even recognize it at that time. Maybe you are still having some issues, but with you showing up, that's tearing down those walls. That's showing them that, I love you and I'm here for you. Even though I may not be your biological parent, you are a part of my life and I'm here. And whenever you do that and you do that consistently, I guarantee you some of those acts will be what breaks those walls down and allows y'all to have just an amazing relationship.
Yes, and then along those lines too, like, because again, this is something that I see people complain about all the time, is, well, it's my weekend and they showed up. Sorry, I'm trying to sound like a bitter bio mom, Barbie. But
hello, it is not my weekend.
It is my weekend, and then the other parents show up to come support the kids, and then their children want to go sit over there with them, and they're like, it's my weekend, they should sit with me. What is it going to hurt? If they're with you already, they're going to be with you when the game ends. Just let them go. Where the kid, don't like force them, go sit with your other parent. But if the kid says, hey, can I go sit with dad? Let them go sit with dad. This is the kids that are not playing, of course, right? Because your kids that are playing are out there on the field doing their thing. But the other children that are there watching, if they want to go sit, let them go sit. Like I said, if you can all come together and sit together, wonderful. But if not, and y'all need to sit on completely opposite sides and your kids want to go over there, make sure the other parent knows that, hey, they're coming over here to sit with you so that they know their eyes should be the ones on the kids right then. But just be the bigger person there. And I know that that's sometimes easier said than done, because everything in our step family can feel like such a battle, or like a, who's winning here in a struggle. But these little things, because there's going to be so many big things to get upset about, these things that we can just be like, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. Let me just let them go sit over there. Or even if it really bothers you that much, begin to ask yourself, like, why is this such a big deal for me? Why does this trigger me? And I bet if you begin to question that, ask God, like, what is going on right here that's causing me so much stress that my kids want to go sit over there? And I bet God will begin to reveal some things to you to where you can get to a point and you'll be like, you know what? Yeah, go. You know what? Hopefully you ask them for concession stand money instead of me. That's how I see it.
And bring me back a hot dog.
Yes. And then just say, hey, I want nachos and a hot dog, and then come give me that hot dog.
It really is, and we can get in our own ways so often. We can let our emotions trip us up. But really, whenever we start putting the kids first there and just showing up and knowing that, I'm here for the kids. I'm here because I love them. I support them. A lot of that stuff it doesn't matter, and it starts fading away. But it takes us leading that charge, especially if you are having static with your co-parent or, with the other side of the family. Maybe this is what it takes. So it takes us being that leader.
Yeah, and
being the change.
The last little point before we move on to the next part is, if you're a parent that your schedule does not allow you to be there, I just don't want you to feel like you're saying you're a bad parent if you don't show up to your kids' things. But if you're able to work your schedule around that, maybe you stay late one day or leave early another and work that out if possible. Or maybe, it's a season that you decide to shift gears in the things that you do. I know for us, we chose to sacrifice making the big bucks so that we could be present in certain things in our kids' lives, which is part of that after school. Like, when they're home, we're home too. But we know that's not possible for every person. So just looking at that and making it like, how can you show up? If you don't show up ever, okay, how can you show up to, one or two this month so that you are making that effort and they see you that? And you might need to, again, put in some extra time here so that you could leave early here. Or maybe you just talk to your boss and you leave for that 1 hour and then you go back to work. But we live in a day and age now that I think a lot of bosses, when you talk to them that way and you are putting in that hard work, the other hours that you are there, that they might be willing to work with you.
Well, and we just have to remember, it is for the kids. And you may sit there and you may be like, but it's just a dumb soccer game and they're chasing butterflies half the game anyways. What does it really matter? It's not about the game. You know, whenever you really take it out, it's about that support and just letting your kids know that I support you no matter what. And that's the big thing. So yes, if you can make it, you know, make it a point. And, you know, there are going to be times that you can't, but that's one thing I know looking back. I didn't work all the overtime, and, you know, I didn't work for certain companies because of certain schedules, but I sacrificed that for myself. And honestly, looking back now, I don't regret 1 minute of it. You know, I enjoyed being there, and I enjoyed showing up at their practices and, you know, going out and shagging balls when I could, and then getting pulled into coaching teams when I did.
We would not have met. We would not be here on this podcast today if extracurriculars were not important to
we
you.
met on my daughter's softball team. That is true.
So, yeah, it's just that, and I mean, we have to remind ourselves, even because we would be more financially set, but we have to say we sacrificed early on so that we could do this, and that is worth more than any of it. And so just keeping that in mind, again, we're not trying to shame anybody that needs to work, especially single working moms, and you're working multiple jobs. Do not take this and be like, oh my gosh. But we're going to get to a point with that here in just a minute on maybe reflecting a little deeper.
Yeah. So we ready for point number 2?
Point number 2.
P2?
Yes. We want to do that before
P2.
or after?
P2. We'll do P2 after the break.
After the break.
P2.
Hey, have you heard of Get Out Pass? I hadn't either. I saw it on a friend's social media, and I had to immediately look to see if my state had it, because she lives in a different state than me. I was like, oh heck yeah, where can we sign up? If you are home for the summer and looking for things to do, you want to get yourself a Get Out Pass. You pay one time for each of your family members, a one-time fee, and it gets you in to all of these places around your community for free. It is so worth it. When I heard about this, I began to look into it, and I was like, are you kidding me? It costs this much to get into every single one of these places. This is thousands of dollars that we are saving, and now we have the opportunity, because of the one time that we paid, to get into all of these places. These are water parks, climbing places, jumping places, arts and craft areas, boardwalks, theme parks, food type activities. Then I took that list and I sent it to all of my kids and asked them, hey, which one of these things do you want to do? Now I have plans all summer long, even with my adultish children. And of course the grandbaby. These bigger cities are partnered with Get Out Passes. So go and check now, see if you have a city nearby that allows you to use this pass, and then get it for your family. It will pay for itself in 1 to 2 visits, I promise you. And if you're part of our blended family community, use the code BFAM and you get 30% off. You buy it one time and you have all year to go to all of these places one time. Go get it, sign your family up, and do not sit at home this summer with all them kids. Get out the house and make some memories.
All right, P2. Point number 2.
Loves coming up with these little things.
It just came to me, and it's so genius. It's like P2. Like
Point 2, though, is find a way to keep everyone involved. So now you want to show up. We talked about the importance of showing up for your kids. Now, usually, we just had an episode on the mental load. Usually someone in your family is the one carrying this mental load of all the kids' schedules.
I put it all on Scarlett, just letting y'all know.
Yes.
It's like, let her carry all. Here, you take that.
We are getting much better at sharing it. But I did a poll in our Facebook group, and most of them, it's been the moms, or one person said it's a team effort. And so it is. It comes down a lot of times on the mom of the household, which may be a stepmom, maybe bio mom, that is in charge of not only getting the kids to all of the places, but informing everybody of all of the things for all of the children. And so if you can find a way to streamline this so that you can release this mental load, so it's not so much pressure and stress, and then you're not looking like the bad guy because dad didn't show up. That would always break my heart when my kids would be like, well, dad didn't show up, and then I'm like, shoot, I forgot to tell him. Because I'm just living my life and trying to keep up with my own stuff. And in my defensiveness, he can figure out how to get a schedule himself. He's a grown man. He can get on there and look, and he could talk to the coach. He could, and I could point fingers all day, but the person that's losing out at the end of the day is my child that just wants the love and sport. Going back to P1.
P1, look, it caught. It caught.
Going back to point number one is showing up. That's the most important. So if I am the one that either just takes this on, like we talked about in that episode, that it just kind of falls on your shoulder, or you take it on because maybe you're more natural at it, or just because you're the one that's always there, how can you now make it easier for everybody to get on board? And there are some things that we have found like tried and true, and then some we found after the fact that were like, man, I wish we would have had this when we were raising kids. But one thing that we did really well is, and this was from trial and error, is that I finally got to a point with the kids having to share in the intermediate days all of their stuff, is I created this Facebook group, and it was called Big Blended Family. And this was before it was even like a thing. Like, we didn't even know that was even like terminology, really. It was just like I thought of my big fat
It was all
Greek.
like baby stages.
Yeah, I was thinking like big fat Greek wedding. Well, this is our big blended family, and it had grandparents on all sides because we have like 8 sets of grandparents.
Let's face it, we forget to tell our parents, and the grandparents don't make it, and then you're feeling bad, they're feeling bad, and they're like, I would have came if I would have known. And
it's like you're trying to defend yourself to your co-parent. It's like nothing against you. I didn't even tell my mom.
It's just we've been so busy.
Yeah, and I hate that because the kids really want as much support as they can there. And we do, because we want to text, I got to text this person. I got to text this person. We're like, let's make a group text. But it is kind of weird to have this side of the family and this side of the family all in these different group texts, and things fall through the cracks. So making a private Facebook group, it helped where we could add them in if they needed to go back and check the schedule, like, it was on, the game is on Friday.
Take a picture and upload it.
Yeah, or even we're sitting on this side, or he's starting in this game, or he's not this. Like, there's so many different ways that you can utilize that. You can even create events in there so that they remember just how big and however you want to make it. If you get the kids' class pictures or their sporting event pictures, you can take that and put it in there. Just getting it so everybody feels like they are part of it. And we had some pretty messy co-parenting situations, and we never really found it get messy in there. Like nobody like getting in there and causing any kind of issues or whatever, because it was a resource and they knew that they were able to see it that way.
Yeah, and it is one of those, the easy way to keep up with stuff. And what we also found is you want to let the planner, there's always normally a planner as somebody who's really good at organizing in your family, and you let them do it, or maybe somebody who's really good at social media, you let them do it. Like Scarlett, she's super good at social media. Me, I stink at it. I get on it occasionally, but, it's not even to post stuff. It's just to be like, hey, what's happening in the world today? So finding that person that is the organizer. So that's good. But there's several other tools now that that are even more advanced. And you could even do Google Calendars and share a calendar and upload that. Family Core. Yeah,
Family Core has an app that, really, you pay less than $4, I think, a month for it, and you have an event on there, and it allows you to tag whoever, like if, say it's it's Riley, Big Riley playing in this one. Well, my ex doesn't necessarily need to know that, right? Because he's not going to come support this other side of the family. So you can actually tag all those people in Riley's life so that they're the ones inside there that get the notification, get the reminders and all of that. So it's really cool. And like Randall said, if you let the person that does it naturally and is good at it and organizes be the one to go put that stuff in, then that makes it that much easier.
And then, you know, whenever you get a platform set up that works really well, that everyone can stay connected with, now you're connecting, you know, you've got your ex-spouse and their family, you've got your parents, grandparent, you know, just everybody, aunts, uncles. I mean, you can really get real big with this, because I know that's kind of where we were.
Yeah.
We would forget to tell so many people until we came up with a system like this. But whenever you get that and everything set up, it is really easy. Just, you know, upload a schedule. Hey, here it is. But then now you can set reminders and make it really quick, really easy, to where you're just shooting one message instead of, you know, multiple messages and then missing people. Makes it really easy. And, you know, that's a lot of the issues that we see in step families, is just lack of communication. And then now somebody's mad at somebody else because they didn't tell them. And, you know, kind of same with schoolwork. And that's another good thing, like with the family core, you know, you can even put schoolwork and things like that in there to inform the other parent. That way, when it's not your week or your weekend or whatnot, you're still in the know. And that's a huge thing, to be able to kind of still stay together. That will avoid so many arguments and just fights and things of that, just with good communication.
Yeah, and if you use that tool, and just a last little plug there for, they don't pay us to say this, but with Family Core, it was a question that we had, and only one person pays that monthly fee, and then everybody else has access to it in there. And so it's not like your kids have to pay $4.99 a month for their app on their phone if you have a teenager or something like that, or you have to convince your co-parent to pay $4.99. Like, you're able to put your family members on there, and they get to be a part of just whoever that host is on there.
Yeah, great tools. And you know, we can't hammer that enough, but keeping everybody in the know is just a big deal in a blended family. Yeah. Got to be in the know. So P2, there we go, P2.
P2.
We got
so
P1 and P2.
P3.
And now P3 is the last one, P3. P3.
Don't worry, guys. It'll fade by the next episode.
It may not. This may be like a forever thing, and we just like created this.
Maybe.
From now on, it'll be P3s.
It'll be
P2s.
He wants me to stick to 3 points, okay? And I'm like, no, let's talk about 15. Nope, 3, Scarlett.
No, just keep
it simple.
Keep it simple.
So point number 3.
Because 4 hours later is, now we're on P25.
Whatever.
But no, really, you know, our heart in this, just kind of before we share P3, our heart in this is to just help you navigate through this stuff, you know, and these are things that we were trial and error, and we did some really bad things, and we did some really good things. We learned a whole lot of things, and so our heart is just to share the things so that you don't have to go through the things. Are you still with me?
I am still with you.
So now P3.
P3 is don't overcommit.
Don't overcommit. God.
Don't overcommit.
Don't do it.
Don't
do it. Just say
your
no.
kids.
Say no.
Just say no.
Just say no.
So this does go along with really all of this hand in hand. And Randall and I are, you know, we wholeheartedly believe this, because as we were saying earlier, you want your kids to be involved. But we found ourselves in a position that we were so involved, we were so overcommitted in all of the things that we said yes to, whether it be the school stuff, the extracurricular that's with our community, with our church, with our work. Like, we were overcommitting because I say we and you have these servant hearts, and you want to do all the things.
And they're all good things.
And they're good things, but you overcommit, and then you can't enjoy them because you're running to and from all of these places. So as you're going into this season, and maybe you've already committed some, so you can take this information and take it into the next season, just let it marinate for now. But find out, like, what is the most important things, or what are the things your kids really want to do? Have conversations with them. Don't just automatically sign them up because all of your besties are signing their kids up for this, and now you've signed your kid up and you are dragging them. That's when I finally had this realization, when every week we would lose the dance shoes and we would leave them at home, and we lived 30 minutes from the school and we were going straight there, and it was just like, and then to go back home, get the dance shoes. Now she's crying. Now I'm threatening to spank her. I'm taking her to dance and dropping her off, and she's red-faced crying. I'm crying after I drop her off because I feel like a horrible mother. And I'm like, what am I doing? And so finally getting to the point, like, do you even want to be in dance anymore? And when you really have these conversations with your kids and they're like, you know what? No. Or maybe they're like, yeah, I do. Well, then what's the problem? Like, why are we fighting every week to do this? Maybe it's because you're signed up for 3 classes and they really only need to be in 1 class. Maybe in your head, I thought my daughter was going to be in drill team. So in my head, she needed, and here's the truth, because I got pregnant my senior year and I didn't get to finish my drill team. And so I wanted Riley to be able to be on drill team because I didn't get to be on drill team. And I was not going to be one of those moms or parents that made their kids fulfill their dreams. But when I really got down to the heart of it, I was like, I could see her. I wanted her to be a shipmate, just like I almost was.
Same school, same everything.
Yes. And it got to the point where I had her in all of these things and she wasn't loving it. Well, guess what happens? Her intermediate year, she tears her meniscus. She has to have knee surgery. It shuts her down from dancing. And then she chooses to be a cheerleader. And it was just like, I'm like, but our dreams of being a shipmate, they're not going to happen if you don't do these things. And so I had to step back and let her choose what she really wanted to do. And it is a little heartbreaking when you get to some of these moments, but it's rip that Band-Aid off, and really you free up a lot of time in these areas. And I really wish, looking back, we had a lot more open conversations early on, because what our family needed was time at the house to just spend more game nights together, more quality time, not out on a field, but with each other. And so although we gave our kids all these opportunities and it was wonderful, we wouldn't take all of it back. We wish we would have scaled down and been a little bit more intentional on what our kids really wanted to be involved in.
Well, because the truth is that, there are trade-offs. If you're, I don't want to say opportunity cost, but if you're going to be away from your family, if you're going to be taking one of your kids to do the sport or whatnot, then it's costing you family time. And so you have to weigh that. What is most important to your family? What is your family's values? What is your family's mission? And as a step family, we advocate so much that you have to spend time together, because if you're not spending time together and being intentional in that, then you will never come together, and there will continue being walls formed and walls up. The way that you overcome that is by spending time together and creating those opportunities. So you really have to look at that and say, well, what does that look like for our family? Should one day out of the week we have family night or something of that? And does an extracurricular activity, does that hinder that? Does that get in the way of that? So what is most important to our family? And so, you have to be intentional there whenever you are signing your kids up. And then I'm also a big advocate that don't force your kids into stuff. Let your kids choose, but give them a choice. Be like, well, you can only do one thing. So out of these 3 things that are available to you, which one do you want to do? If they want to do something, that's one thing I think we did well with the kids in certain areas sometimes, and I know that was my approach with Riley. I never would sign her up for anything unless she approached me and said, Dad, I want to play softball. Okay, sweet. So, let's get you into softball. Got her into softball, and then she, got to a point to where it's like, Dad, I don't want to do softball. Okay, no problem. I want to do soccer. You want to do soccer? Are you sure? Because I didn't know anything about soccer, and I'm like, Like, do you know soccer? I mean, you sure you want? Yeah, no, I want to do. Okay, sweet. Okay, so we're not doing softball anymore. We're doing soccer. And the thing is, she really liked soccer, and that took off. And she played soccer for 6-7 years. Yeah. But even in that, we took it as a, I got pulled into being coach, and I didn't even with that. I approached it as, I'm not going to coach if you're not going to play. So, you tell me if you're playing, I'll coach if, the opportunity's there. And that was just another way that we could connect and kind of have fun together. But there was also, we only did recreation soccer at that. There was another more competitive soccer leagues that she had kind of mentioned, and I was like, no, we're not doing that. For one, not sitting there saying, no, we're not doing that, babe. But I would watch her. How committed was she really? Yeah. And is she at home practicing all the time? Is she in that love with the sport that she's willing to do it on her own and to get really good? And so I never even entertained a competitiveness because I never saw that in her. Now, had she had been that engaged, then I would have entertained something like. So it is really, as parents, I think we have to watch our kids in these sports. How involved are they really? Is this more just a social thing, or is this like, I'm serious? Because I see a lot of parents fall into that trap of, I'm living vicariously through my child, and I want them to be the best of the best. So all the way, starting young, 5-6 years old, they've got coaches. They're going and hiring professional, side coaches to come and coach them for the sports. And I've seen it time and time again that by the time the child hits high school, they're burnt out. They're tired of playing the sport because they've been doing it basically their whole kid life, and it's kind of robbed them from being a kid in a sense. And so, it's one of those that we don't want to get our kids into that position either. But let our kids kind of guide that a little bit. Give them boundaries starting off. Don't let them just join everything, but maybe join one thing one season and then see what they like and if they want to stick with it. But kind of watch them and let them guide. Like I said, if they're get involved in a sport, now they come to you saying, hey, I want to get into this competitive sport. And you're looking at them going, you don't even go out back. You don't know. Because if we get into this competitive sport, then 5 days out of the week, we're going to be gone, And it's one of those that you're not that serious. And so, we're just, watch your kids, and let them kind of guide that. And then that'll help you not overcommit. But it really does. It comes back just what is your family's core values, and being a step family, a blended family, we have to be intentional on coming together as a family and not let these extra things rob us from that, but put our family as a priority. Make sure that, we're putting that in a calendar first and then allowing the sports and the dance and all that to kind of form around that. Yeah,
and I did want to say, if you don't know, if you're like, find out what my family's core values are, I don't know. We talked with Step Up Method a couple months ago, and they have a family planner that helps you figure out what it's like. It asks questions in a very kid-friendly way so you can figure out what those core values are, and then it helps you plan out and schedule everything. So that is another one of those resources that you could use if you're like, okay, well, that sounds good, but I don't even know how to go about that. So we'll put that in the show notes as well so that you can just check it out and see, is this something that I could use to help my family figure that out? And then the last thing that I wanted to say, I don't know if it's the last thing you wanted to say, but it's the last thing I was going to say.
Well, go ahead, baby. The floor is yours.
Thank you. And that is, you aren't doing this alone. And so you do need to have open conversations with your co-parents, because if you're wanting to sign your kids up, or your kids are wanting to sign up for an extracurricular activity, and maybe it's a core value for you and it's not that important for the other side of the family, somebody has to get them to practice. For one, that's one issue that could arise, is the other parents not taking them to practice. And then the other is they may not be willing to sacrifice that little bit of time they have. Maybe they're a every other weekend parent, and now they have soccer games every weekend, and so their time together is not even together because it's on the field because the other family decided to sign the kids up for sports. So now if the kid is really into this, let the kid take that lead. Let the kid present it first to their parents, and then maybe as the adults, okay, let's talk through this. And I know it's not always so easy, especially when you have high conflict. So that in itself, like if this is such a high conflict area, okay, then what can we do? And so we always say, take it to God. If this is an area that's struggling and you feel like every season it's a big fight and a big battle, take it to God first. Lord, this is a struggle. We're frustrated. We're tired of it. We want to give our kids these opportunities, and this is a problem all the time. Help us. Give us some new creative ideas on how we can handle this. Soften the hearts of their dad or their mom so that they can see how much our kid wants to do this, or whatever that looks like.
And soften my heart.
Yeah.
Help me to be able to handle this situation better.
Yeah, and when you invite God into the middle of it like that, he's going to pave the way. Mm-hmm. And if he hasn't yet, then keep waiting, because he's working. He doesn't hear our cries and then just leave us, here to do life on our own. He wants to hear from us, and he's working something out. So seek him, and then go with your spouse, the one you're married to. Y'all get on the same page first in your own household, and then hearing from your child, okay, what do they really want to do? And then go and present that with the other parents, or find a way to let them have input too. This is their child, and this is part of their life that they're committing to as well.
Yeah, it really is. And, it's communicating. Whenever you're talking with a co-parent, make it about the kid, not about you. Always take yourself out of it, and y'all just talk about the kid, about your kid. And whenever you do that and you take your emotions out, then that kind of can keep their emotions out of it as well. And if they start throwing their emotions in, don't buy into it. Don't take the bait. Just reiterate, well, we're just kind of doing this for little Timmy, just trying to be there for little Timmy.
Sorry, little Timmy, no sports for you, because your dad is a loser. Don't do that.
Don't do that. That's terrible. But make it about the kids. Make it about the kids. But there it is. 3 P's. 3 P's right there. Now, fun fact. So Riley decided to do soccer. And I didn't know anything about soccer, but I fell in love with the game. Once I started understanding it, I'm like, this game is awesome. Why did I not discover this sooner? I wished I would have played this in high school. Dang. So
he missed his
fact.
calling.
I missed my calling.
Then he got to coach.
Well, I was a little short.
And he
I turned out to be a little short too.
You can be short in soccer.
No, soccer players are pretty tall. Like you go for a header with another guy, and you're 5'6" and he's 6'2". You're not gonna win. It's just not gonna happen. They're gonna beat you to it. So it's just kind of one of those things. But that's okay.
And if you're a goalie, you can't jump that high.
I'm soccer in my heart. Soccer in my heart, and I'm sure they got a short league somewhere.
You're fast,
where's the soccer short league?
You got the speed.
I got the speed.
We'll make a blended family soccer team. We'll just only recruit short people. Sorry if you're tall.
If anybody wants to be in, message me. Say I am totally down with the BFAM soccer team, and we'll get some leagues going or something. And size doesn't matter.
Oh, we're gonna let everybody in. Tall people too.
Tall people too. Because we're gonna be fair and equal. The tall people, they took over the sport, and they didn't let us short people in. But you know what, us short people, we're just going to be, we're going to let everybody in. So
if you're into that, let us know, and we will find a way to get together and play a soccer game.
So hopefully this has just hit home in some of these areas that we're talking about, and that this season is going to be one of your better seasons, and it doesn't look like one of our 2012 seasons whenever it was just we were at our wits' end. Our marriage was struggling. Our kids were struggling. We were all struggling, and it just took God sitting there knocking us with some ugly sticks and saying, hey, you're doing it wrong. So,
but we learned so much. Sometimes in the middle of the biggest, hardest times, usually you learn some really good life lessons that propel you into the better version of you. So
hopefully this helps you a little bit navigate your journey with your family, and y'all have some really good times and some really good laughs with it.
Yeah.
So boom, there it is. Well, listen, we love you, B-Fam, and we will see you on the next one. Later.
Bye. Joining us today. We hope this episode has been a blessing and encouraged your family journey.
Make sure you stay connected with us and join our weekly Blended Family newsletter. We send an email out every Friday morning full of support and encouragement.
And when you join, we also want to give you a free gift. So go get yours today. The link is in the show notes below.
Have an amazing day. Remember to enjoy the journey with your blended family, and we'll see you on the next episode.